Hi, I'm Terra, the Culinary Coordinator here at Central Market in Mill Creek. Today I'm going to show you how to sear, brown, and caramelize meat. These terms describe the reaction that's happening when proteins and sugars come in contact with dry heat. To demonstrate this process, I'm going to sear and brown 3 different kinds of meat. We will be doing steak, chicken, and a pork loin roast. Pull your meat out of the fridge well before cooking. You want to let it rest at room temperature so that the moisture that's trapped inside the fibers of the meat will have time to redistribute into the muscle. You want a really hot pan. If your pan is not hot enough, you will not get the proper chemical reaction that browns and caramelizes the proteins and the sugars in your meat. I'm going to start with a steak that has been rubbed with a bit of olive oil and seasoned with salt and pepper. As you can see, my pan has gotten to almost a smoking point. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the hot pan, and the fattier your meat is, the less oil you need to add. And when your oil is shimmering, that's when it's rippling a bit, that's when you're ready to sear. So we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and add my steak. All right. And don't be alarmed with the smoke. That's totally typical to get the proper searing on your steak. I'm going to let this go for about a minute or 2, and depending on how well done you like your steak, I may need to finish it in the oven. All right, my meat's ready to turn, and as you can see, the meat will release from the pan when it's properly browned, and be careful for splatters. My steak is properly browned. I'm going to put it in the oven and let it cook for just a few more minutes to get it up to the temperature that I like. When you're browning and finishing in the oven, you want to pull your steak out about 5 degrees before it's at the temperature that you prefer. The steak will continue cooking while it's resting. So now we're ready to go into the oven. And we'll let it cook. It's been a few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. I'm gonna get my steak out of the oven and get it onto a plate and let it rest. Be very careful, your oil will still be splattering. All right, and that's how you perfectly sear steak. Now let's move on to our chicken. Just like with my steak, I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I've also got my skillet getting nice and hot over medium-high heat. It's about to that smoke point and super hot where we want it. Now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan. All right, we're going to let that come up to temperature until it's shimmering a bit. In the meantime, I have seasoned my chicken with a little bit of salt and pepper and rubbed it with olive oil. Before I did that, I patted it dry with paper towels just to make sure we get all the excess moisture off the skin. And it looks like my pan is ready. So we're going to add our chicken, skin side down. Be careful for the splatters. My chicken skin is nicely browned. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and let it finish browning, and then we'll get it into our 400-degree oven. If your chicken sticks to the pan, just wait a minute. It will release on its own when it's properly browned. It's been about 10 minutes, and I think my chicken's probably ready. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the oven and see if we've gotten it up to 165 degrees yet. My chicken is cooked to 165 degrees. I'm going to get it out of the pan and let it rest for a few minutes, and then it is ready to eat. Now I'm going to move on to my pork loin roast. I'm starting with a roast that has been coated in olive oil and seasoned with salt and pepper. I'm going to once again get my pan super hot and add a little bit of olive oil to the pan. And the oil looks like it's already hot, so now I'm ready to add my roast. I'm going to add my roast skin side down to start. We're going to let this go, and we're going to be browning on all sides. Be very careful when you're browning roasts this size in a pan. They fall over easily and can splash you with hot oil. So if you're browning the sides and the ends, you may want to hold on to it or lean it up against the side of the pan. If you're doing a larger roast, a whole chicken or a turkey, You can go ahead and get that right into a 475-degree oven for the first 10 to 20 minutes of cooking. These are large enough where they'll properly brown in your oven without the skillet method. After the first 10 to 20 minutes, go ahead and drop it down to your preferred cooking temperature. My roast is brown. I'm going to go ahead and get this into a 400-degree oven, and you can let it cook up to your preferred temperature. I'm going to check on my roast. Looks good. My roast is at 135 degrees. I like my roast to be about 140, which is perfect because I'm going to let it rest. Meat cooks up about 5 to 10 degrees depending on how large your protein is. If you have a roast this size, you can pull it out 5 degrees before it's at your preferred temperature. And that's how you sear, brown, and caramelize meats. When using these techniques, the flavor of the meat becomes intensified and adds a layer of depth and texture to your dishes, or just makes them more yummy to eat on their own. Hope you found this information helpful. Enjoy.